Welcome to this wonderful space. The space of remembrance. The space where we're one. The space where there's no difference between any of us. The space of love, the space of compassion, the space of community, the space of you. Welcome to Remembrance with Rukmani. I'm Rukmani, if this is your first time watching me, and Ganesh, which is the DT that I work with. So I feel like there were so many things, like my eyes kept doing this thing before I came online, and I just like felt this wave of so much energy just passing through with so many kinds of messages, and let's see how this goes, okay? I hope you have been having a wonderful, wonderful week. There are so many things up in the air, which is a really interesting, really fascinating, at the same time very magical, but it could be so tricky at times if we don't allow that to really come to us, okay? Because it's almost like that space of like, can I go there? You know, can I really go there? Can I surrender to this? And because of the full moon, okay, so here's one of them, okay? Because of the full moon, we're being there's this really big inquiry within ourselves that is saying like, are you ready to like look at this aspect of yourself a little bit different, right? So perhaps like some kind of triggers will come up, perhaps having that sensitivity as like the heart of the universe is really opening up to the earth, and this is like an amazing time to just surrender to your own sensations of the heart, even if you feel that at times is very challenging, because let's be honest, okay? If you have been conditioned or taught, okay, or you just have seen in this, and you're growing up, that it's not good to talk about your emotions and whatever and all these kinds of things, you know, it could be challenging for sure, even if you've been in this work, you know, for a few years, because it's still in there, and that's okay, you know, honoring, but also having compassion with yourself. You know, compassion is such a like big thing. So Ganesh is really showing me compassion with really big letters, you know, super caps and exclamation points. Compassion, this is the key, because as we're coming to this new the first full moon of the year, you know, is that time. Remember that at the end of last year there was this time of like transitioning, crossing into the portal, right? So as we're coming into the full moon, here comes the celebration, but before the celebration happens, there's a little bit more of like the shedding that needs to happen. That doesn't mean that it's gonna be like very intense, or that like you will just be like this, like what's going on, you know? It doesn't have to be like that. When it's like this, honestly, it tends to be the majority of the time, because there's something in you that still hold on to something on the past. And that's normal, okay? But like really realize, you know, and like have that inquiry within you. Like, is that really necessary? Or can I just surrender a little bit more to these emotions? Even these emotions are so funky and I don't want to feel them. That's normal, you know, we're having a human experience, and we will feel these things, you know, but it's actually like your reactions and the way that you honor them that actually opens up the space of the portal of transformation, the celebration happening in the full moon. And also that celebration is actually one of the biggest portals to continue to go into your journey of celebrating you. Okay, so here comes a question that I'm hearing. How often do you celebrate yourself? How often do you celebrate yourself? And now here's the other question. How often do you look at yourself and say you could have done better? Or whatever it is that you say. That is like the completely opposite of the celebration, okay? And this is like really important, because as you continue to go in this journey, it's really the journey of celebrating you, going back to yourself. And I know Ganesh wants to talk, so and it's so it's crucial, honestly, to just honor where you are and honor everything that like came into your life prior to where you are, because again, that really opened up the space for you to be here, right? Like think about if like something in your life that was major, like a major pivot point, if that hadn't happened, where would you be? You know, how could you know anyway? Like I think about most of the time, especially, you know, the massive depression where I was suicidal, which I am beyond like grateful for it, because without it, I wouldn't have been able to go so deep into the energetics and understand that and just like live in them, to be initiated really by all the energies. So, but of course, you know, in the midst of like something chaotic, most of the time we don't see that light. And it's really important to know, oh, here comes the other thing that is really wonderful. It's really important to know that in that chaos is such a massive order of light. Whoa. In that chaos, there's such a massive order of light. I need to write this down. In that chaos, there's such a massive order of light. Can we just let that sink with us? In the chaos, there's such a massive order of light. It's powerful. It's powerful. Now, what I'm being reminded of right now, I go to this beautiful forest right behind the house, pretty much right behind the house. It's like a minute driving, not even. And it calls me all the time, you know? The line calls me and says, like, come here, you know, let's chill, listen to the messages, which we all have a magic place. And maybe it's not physical, you know, maybe your magical place is in your imagination. But we all have at least one magical place that we really connect super deeply with. So here's another like question, inquiry that I hear Ganesh saying, you know, where is your magic place? How can you access that magic place when you don't feel quote unquote good? When you're having all these releases because of your awakening process and like many triggers coming in, and then you're just like forgetting to breathe, you know? Connecting to that magical place is such an important key, because that will be the transition, almost like the portal, but like the highway to connect you back into your truth. So it's super important. So I was in the forest, and I was honestly was not having a very good day with emotions. And as soon as I feel the mother calling me, I'm like, okay, cool. Like, you gotta say something. I'm all ears and every part of my being. So after so many messages that she said, I was looking down onto the path, and she specifically said, like, look at all, like, you know, the little parts that came from trees, right? So whenever we're walking on a trail in a forest, we're looking at the massive trees and how beautiful they are, you know, how they stand so tall, even if the leaves have fallen, like the beauty and the strength of the trees. But do you really look down to see the beauty that is down below? So there were a bunch of like different kind of shrubs and twigs and all these kinds of things like broken apart, and even like the roots of some of the trees that make up the path to walk in. But she said that a lot of people, when they look at those things, they just see it as crap, that they don't see the beauty in them. However, those little tiny parts came from a tree. Those tiny little parts came from like a massive bush that at one point during the year was blooming. It was with so much color and so much life. But they take that for granted because they're seeing something that is not quote unquote very pleasant to the eyes, because there's something in the third eye that is in a way like clouded, you know, and like that condition or story that like something has to be and look like this way in order for you to pay attention to it and see the beauty of it. However, the most important beauty is that beauty that looks like crap because that beauty actually has so much story. Whoa, I'm not even sure what just happened here. Whoa. 1 second, you guys, because the live video on Instagram just went like bloop. Okay. Oh my goodness. All right, we're back. Okay, so I was saying that those tiny little things that don't look very quote unquote pleasant to the eye, they actually have so much story. and so much wisdom in them. They do come again from the same parts of the trees. So it really does have the same wisdom of the trees. It has a similar story to the trees. However, as people are walking through them, people are stepping on them and not even realizing the power that land holds, that little twig, that little part of the tree, or even like a leaf that just fell. But when they're looking at the tree, it's kind of like, wow, like taking a step back and really seeing like the beauty and being amazed by that beauty. And here's a correlation with your life. When you're going through like some kind of like chaotic time in your life, when you're having this kind of things in a relationship, it doesn't even matter what relationship it is. It could be with a friend, it could be with your pet, okay? It could even be with the earth. And you don't really realize the beauty that is in that chaos, because you see it as something, you know, the eyes don't see it as pretty. And so because the eyes don't see it as pretty, then like it goes into the system saying that it's not good. It's not good. So like, let's step away. Let's run away from this, because this is just chaos and this looks horrible, and no. But in the midst of the chaos and that unpleasant looking aspect of an object, of relationship, that is really where the medicine is, where all the medicine is. So going back into what the earth was telling me on the trail, okay? So on the trail, how many people step that trail? How many people walk through that forest and not even being aware of like other people's steps on the way, or being aware of where that twig came from or where that leaf came from, or not just being aware of much? Because a lot of times as humans, we're just like, we have like this narrow like vision. Okay, you go to the forest, you walk, you're talking to somebody else, and you forget about your surroundings. You know, perhaps if you're actually looking down rather than looking up, then you see some things. But you think about that story, the story that particular lint and everything on the floor actually carries, and the medicine of that. And so here goes again back into you. Do you think about your story and the medicine of your own story, especially in the moments of like chaotic emotions? That is really what the medicine is at. And it is so powerful when somebody else that is really close to you allows you to see that medicine. And the way that normally somebody allows you to see the medicine, it really is when there's some kind of like, you know, because otherwise you wouldn't see it. Otherwise it's all butterflies and rainbows, and it's like, cool, this is really good, this is so good, this is going very well, and etc. Right? So it's not like, perhaps, of course, I will hope that you're very grateful for that, but it's in the moments of like tension with somebody else that allows you to see something different about you and the other person. Again, the medicine of the story that the two of you are creating. Because again, you know, it doesn't even matter what relationship it is, but you and somebody else are making up a story. You're making up a story. So you and your family, you and your dad has a story. You and your mom have a story. You and your children have a story. You and your partner have a story. You and your pets have a story. You and the land have a story. So there's all this kind of stories all around you. And there are all just different portals for you to experience something deeper in yourself. And it's the opening, you know, that little tension is the opening, or like the little thing that is unpleasant to the eyes is the opening of that portal that is kind of in a way telling you like, hey, like fly through this portal. You will see something you haven't been able to see yet and feel it. But at times, you know, like, do we actually like say like, oh yeah, I'm gonna take that portal because it's so uncomfortable and I'm gonna go through this? Like most of the time, you know, as humans we tend to be like, no. Why is this person being this way, or why did she say this, or why did he say that, and create even more tension rather than realizing that through the tension there's that opportunity to grow. There's that opportunity to see something else that is so beautiful in the story that takes you back to your own story. holy smokes, it takes you back to your own story. And that's the powerful thing of it, because a lot of us, we have forgotten our own story. A lot of us look at our past and say it was crap, or I want to forget about this, or I wish they hadn't happened, rather than really honoring and say like, I have such a powerful story. Because you do, we all do, and that story has medicine for so many people. Even like whatever it is that you do in your life, you know, when you share something from your heart, when you share something that is like, is really deep, somebody goes like, oh my gosh, like, thank you for opening up, thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing that. Because perhaps not a lot of people that were in the circle of that being are able to say that, because a lot of people hide away from it because they're ashamed. Again, they look at their life, they look at their story. Remember the painting that we talked about? I think it was like last week or something. I don't know, you guys, day sometimes is like, whoa. Yes, oh, Pixie, hi, it's so good to see you. Hope you've been good. But remember, yeah, the masterpiece of your life, right? Remember that, the painting that you are? So it's like looking at the painting and saying it's crap over and over and over again. But then it really isn't. It really isn't. I wouldn't be here if I would have looked at my story and continued to look at my story like it was something that it was completely, did not have any value whatsoever. But I'm here saying like, oh my gosh, the moments that I was suicidal, they were the most blessed moments of my life. The moment that I chose to leave my husband at the time, it was one of the best moments of my life. The moment that I had the Kundalini Awakening, it was one of the best moments of my life. Or even when I was like, almost died from like being super like anorexic and super bulimic. Oh my gosh, because those moments allow me to honor my body and love it the way that I do. So I don't look at my story and like point at things and just say like, oh, let's change this, let's change that, I honor it all because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that story. You wouldn't be where you are if it wasn't for your story. And again, your story has that medicine, especially and first and foremost for you. Your own story has your own messages and your own medicine for you. Because through that story, it's actually putting the pieces back together of your truth, what it feels like to be you, rather than just breaking it apart and not making it complete, So as you are, if you want to see yourself as a mandala, right? Like it's a beautiful painting, sacred geometry that is like super balanced. But if you take pieces apart of it, it's leaking energy, it's not complete. So that's like in a way what we do whenever we're looking at our story, say like, oh, I'm gonna change this because that was shit, and this other thing, I didn't like it, and like, oh, that made me feel like crap, I made somebody else feel the crap. So then you are taking the power away from your own story when you're saying that, when you're doing that. And granted, I honor wherever you are because I have been there and I did that for so long. But we all have the power within us to change it, because that is something that was taught for us. We saw it and we're like, okay, that's normal, I honestly don't believe that's very normal. It's normal in the way that like the life is happening. But thank God, everything and the goddess, everything is changing. And then we're able to look at it and be like, oh, that was very powerful. That was very powerful. So whenever you begin to like put those pieces back into your own painting, into your own mandala, saying like, thank you for this suicidal thoughts. Thank you for this divorce. Thank you for this heartbreak. Thank you for like having trying to like, harm my body for so long. Then you begin to see the medicine or your own story. And it is that medicine that takes you so deep into the heart space. And it is that medicine that connects you so deeply to the land. It is that medicine that connects you so deeply to the ancestors. That again, the ancestors live through you. They're already inside of you. And of course, like we know the medicine is inside of us. And at times, like at the beginning, it might be a concept until you really feel it. But it is in your power to feel it. It is. I honestly believe that is your birthright to feel the power within you and the power that you carry in the story. Because the moment that you put that story complete and you honor it and you love it and you own it, you know, as Pixie said, and you own it, it is the moment that it just goes like, so what I'm really seeing is like a portal transformation, or like, you know, kind of like what we have been seeing as the Big Bang, like it explodes, but then it recreates you. Then is the opportunity for you to create the being that you want to be, that you desire to be, not the being that you were told to be, or how to act, or what to do, or whatever. And in that access point of being, in the access point of being, is where you connect to your ancestors, which are our ancestors, is where the wisdom comes in, is where the Kundalini Awakening goes like bam, and it just takes you and takes you and takes you and takes you, and you surrender to it all. Because you know there's so much power in your own story, there's so much power in your own being. And it's not just your power, it's our power, the consciousness itself in all of us. So this is also like the awakening process, that you go back, you know, you really just like go back as far back as you can go, more and more and more and more, because it's almost like it's a never-ending thing, you know. But we have such a deep story within us. But the most important and the biggest access point is your story. Owning what happened to you and loving it. That doesn't mean that, you know, like, it doesn't take away if it was difficult, you know. It does not take away that it was difficult. It doesn't take away of every difficult situation that I've had in my life prior to today. It doesn't. But then it also brings up more of like surrenderness, if that's a word I like to call it, but also more like more joy in those moments, and then also the moments that are very easy. Because then I learn to be with them and to see the medicine within the chaos, which is again something that is part of us, that is part of you, to see the medicine within the chaos, and not to become the chaos all around, but just be in the center and know that it's going to take you somewhere. Because what happens in the chaos, again, like I was saying, you know, it's like a portal or like an access point within yourself. But like the chaotic stance, it's like the traveling. And the more you're in the chaos, you know, the more that you're like being shaken around. And the moment that you surrender to it, because then you're like kind of like going in loops, you know, the moment that you surrender to it is the moment that you pass through the portal. And then you're like, yes, the eye of the storm. And then you just get there. And then you have more compassion for yourself, more compassion for the other person, or whoever was part of that little story. And then going back into honoring, like, have you had those moments where you just have so much tension with somebody, and then the two of you or the group, you know, like the group worked through something, and then after like this storm passes, it's like, whoa, we made it. And then you have way more gratitude for every single person, for yourself, and compassion, because you know the story. You know their story, you know your story, well, in as much as you can of their story, you know? But like, you know their story because you witness that. And at the same time, you witness your own story. And so then it gives you more compassion, and at the same time, it's just more amazeness, you know, of the other person. It's like, wow. Yeah, exactly, the cleanse feeling. It's so important. And this again goes back into your story, and the ability that you have to love it, the ability you have to honor it, the ability that you have to use that as your own medicine, because it is your own medicine, otherwise it wouldn't happen the way that it did. And then you're in this conscious path, which means that you are ready to feel that which you haven't felt before, or that which you were not allowing yourself to feel before, because it was like, you know, like, for sure, we all have those moments. I have those moments a lot too. But then like the choosing, you know, As in, like, we came here to do something very important, which we are doing, by the way, by being. You're doing something so important by being yourself. And wow, wow. So, there's so much energy passing through. Yes, it does create a space for the future, for sure, for sure. And it's like such an amazing heart opening and being opening, honestly. It's like everything goes like, your own puzzle goes back into space, and it's like, but it's like the new puzzle, the more it has more strength, it has more power. Not that it wasn't there before, but like it came back out, that there were not so many layers of so many clouds like pushing it down. It's like, and then again feeling that confidence in you and in what you are. But like, again, like the main thing of this, as I continuously hear, your story is so important. Thank you, beautiful. Thank you. Your story is so important. Especially the moments of the stories where they were like too like, ugh. Those right there. And here comes the full moon, which is this coming Monday. Here's a really big opportunity to take those portals. I'm not saying like take all of them, but just like see which portal is the one that perhaps you've been hiding away from. We're very good at this too at times, and see like, okay, like I can go deeper into that. But going with that mentality of like, this is a celebration for you, Like, so first of all, this is really all about you and your own journey, and you going back into remembrance, and you go back into you and loving yourself even more. This is one of the most wonderful things of the Kundalini Awakening. It really takes you back into loving yourself unconditionally. And we got to do the work, right? So as you're really crossing through these portals, really know that you are celebrating yourself every time that you take these steps. Every time that you take these steps, it's a celebration to you, because you go back into you even more and even more and even more. And when you're doing this, again, there's all this wisdom that already exists in your being, that already exists in your physical body, and is able to speak to you, and is coming out to you, and is letting you know where the path is going. And then you feel it, and it's like, wow. But how can you feel that if you don't give yourself the opportunity to honor your entire story? When we don't honor our entire story, we're not honoring the story of our ancestors, because the ancestors open up the space for us to be here. And some parts of your story, as I probably said before, are very similar to the story of your ancestors. It could be the story of your parents, your great-great-grandparents, or like, who knows, many years back. Yeah, Kundalini Awakening is beautiful, 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 beautiful. And so here's the opportunity of a really big celebration, okay, in this coming days into the full moon. The full moon is such a big portal where like so many ancestors, so many deities, so many angels, so many entities, they are ready to work with you and have been waiting for you to open up the space to work with them. I'm really just waiting, like, kind of like a kid when is really excited for their present or something, or who knows what it is. It's like, okay, here comes, is she gonna make it? Is he gonna make it? Come on, make it. And they're already cheering for you, okay? And so like it's really that celebration until like going again back to yourself, but it also connecting you more with all the wisdom that you have been calling upon, the wisdom that is in you. It's so powerful. And so again, take these moments, like if you haven't done it yet in this year, even though it's, what day are we, like 12 or something, 13, like it's only been 13 days, right? In the scheme of things, it's nothing. But in this other scheme of things, it's a really big thing. If you haven't been celebrating yourself, haven't been taking care of yourself, haven't been enjoying your life, laughing, having fun, in whatever way it comes. That's also celebrating you. So take this time to celebrate you, as like we're coming into the full moon day. And on the full moon, you know, yes, altars are so powerful. Oh, it was life-changing when I honestly started to create my own altar. Oh, it's so beautiful. I'm excited for you, sister. So, yes, you know, and then just open up to receive on those days. Open up to receive and see what happens. See what happens. See what happens. Like, flow with that, but also root yourself in the existence of the power of your being. So beautiful. So, so, so beautiful. Yeah. And if you haven't subscribed to my newsletter and you would like to get some healing journeys, which I call activations with the light language, you know, like every single day I send you a one for 4 days. And there's also like part of my journey that there's a reason why I'm sharing that with you, because there's so much magic in this journey, you know. There's so much magic in cartwheels, yes. For sure. My inner child likes unicorns and bears and gnomes, so I that's all around me. And fairies. So anyways, yeah, the healing journeys, you know, I just send it to you once you subscribe to the newsletter, and see where that takes you. You know, it's just like a heartfelt gift for all of you, especially now. There's so many doors that are opened, so many doors that are opened, and they're opening like this all the time. And with a little help, you know, it can help us to really like dive into all of that. That would be lovely, sweetheart. That would be really lovely. Send me a message. And yeah. Also, I'm having a masterclass this Sunday at 11 a.m. Central Time, US Central Time. If you're interested on how to work with the elements, you know, which is like so important in my journey anyway. In the shamanic journey, it's very important to work consciously with the elements, right? And listen, no, just with the ears. Like there's more of like a listening and hearing with the heart, and see where that takes you. You know, the elements carry such a wisdom as well. And I feel that it's a collection of the wisdom of every single being that has ever worked with them. So powerful, so powerful. But anyways, the most important thing is that you're celebrating yourself, okay? If you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to send me a message. At the same time, if you're looking to subscribe to my newsletter, and you can find the link on the links in my bios, just let me know. I'm also having a full moon celebration on the full moon day, which we're doing a cacao ceremony online and sound healing. All you have to do is prepare your cacao, lay down, I play sound healing and do a bunch of magic with energy and other deities around. So it's really awesome. I'm very excited to share that with you, because inner dance, which is the sound healing journey, you know, think about inner dance, like inside. There's a dance inside happening and like moving for you to like continue to go back to your own story. It's like a never-ending process that I feel anyway, and that's the beauty of it. You know, you touch upon something and then you continue to go, and then you touch upon something, you continue to go. It's like, wow, this is like a never-ending gift for yourself. Like imagine the inner child is just like, ooh, I get a present again, what? Yeah, so oh, thank you, sweetheart, for being here. It's such an honor. And yeah, send me a message and let's collaborate for sure. Anyways, I want to send you so much love. Oh, here's one thing that Ganesh is saying. There has been a really big activation on the back of the heart. So a lot of times, if you have if you watch people's postures and they're kind of like this, you know, it's because they have been given so much and not given to themselves. That's why they, like, in a way, that's why they close the hearts a little bit. And so the activation that has been happening a lot is in the back of the heart, to open that, to open that space and let go of choosing others over you. And this could also be something that you have been carrying also in your story of your lineage. in the story of humanity anyway too. So if you feel any sensations there, you know, it could be a really normal thing. Just take care of yourself, take a bath, or just lay down on your back, you know, maybe have somebody, if you have anybody anyway, to give you a little massage in the back of the heart. Or it is as simple as putting your hand here in your chest and just sending the energy on the back. And then honoring the journey of the body, okay? Because the physical body is doing so much for you too. The physical body does so much for us. Without the physical body, we wouldn't be here. And that is the body, the one that has been carrying all these things. And even with all these things that it has been carrying, is still here present with you. So it's really the time to just like honor that. Honor the physical body, honor its rest, honor that it needs to perhaps stretch a little bit. Who knows, you know, feel it out, because your body will tell you, you know, if you connect with that, your body will tell you. Oh, yes, sister, yes, same here. I honestly didn't even think I was going to be able to do a live video. and then Ganesh is like, we gotta go in. I was like, okay, let's do it. But then it feels more like, ooh, yeah, so. Many blessings, many blessings. I'm here for you, Rukmani and Ganesh too. She's always with me and always guiding me and sending so many different messages. If you're looking to have guidance in your Kundalini Awakening or awakening process in general, healing ancestral karma or trauma or any of those things relating to the journey itself, send me a message, you know, we can chat a little bit. And we'll see how that goes. If not, it's always an honor to be here. Remember, we're doing this together, and we wouldn't be here without each other and holding each other as we continue to go back into our own stories. Many blessings to you too. I love you all. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the week and weekend. Ciao.